And welcome back to video number 3 in our series, How to Stay in Business Bootcamp. A series designed primarily for school owners, directors, and instructors, but students, you're welcome to watch. We're still going to go over questions important for you to know. As a school owner for 25 years, I understand that we sometimes lose track of our customers. And we forget that there's 2 types of customers. There's the customer at the front desk, who we need to keep coming because the state requires us to provide customers for our students to practice on. But there's also the student themselves. Now, after a lifetime in this business, I've got to tell you, I'm really not sure what the front desk customers want. And the reason I'm not sure what they want is because more times than not, they're not sure what they want. Okay? It's hard to give somebody what they want when they don't know what they want. But moving aside from that, which is a whole other series of videos on how to please your front desk customers, you need to not lose track of the fact that the student is actually your primary customer. They are the person paying you tens of thousands of dollars in many cases to teach them 2 things: how to do hair, skin, and nails, and how to get a license allowing them to do hair, skin, and nails. One is no good without the other. If all you can do is pass the test, but you don't know how to do anything, you won't be in business very long. If all you can do is do hair, skin, and nails and not pass the test, you won't be in business at all because you won't have a license. And in most states, if you're practicing hair, skin, or nails without a license and you get caught, there's a very severe penalty, usually involving you can't take your test for upwards of 5 years. Okay? Your job as the school owner, director, instructor is to do 2 things: to teach your students how to do hair, skin, and or nails, and to teach your students how to pass the test to get a license. And that's not always so easy. I know a lot of students are not particularly cooperative. I've had students who filled out the entire, at some point, 1,500 hours for their license, and the book was as new as the day they got it. It had never been opened. I had one teacher, ironically, one time pointed out, he said, "There's a lot of information in this textbook, or this one, or this one, and it will stay right there until you open the book." I thought it was funny. It stuck in my head. Okay? We can't do much about the students that don't open their book, but a lot of students do open their book, and I see a lot of well-read books with torn pages and highlighted and underlined and sticky tabs sticking out, okay? And those students still are failing their test. And that is the fault of the teachers. And indirectly, the school administrators, because you're allowing this to happen. Okay? Your job is to teach the students how to do the service and to get them a license. Most state boards tell you right in your papers, the function of the school is to get you a license, to teach you how to pass the licensing exam. Now, I have a question for you. How many teachers invite their students who just took the test yesterday or last week to come back and talk to the class? Because let's face it, no matter how smart you are, no one knows better what's on the test today than the student that took the test today. Invite your students to come back and talk about what was on the test. Sometimes they'll simply reinforce, yes, Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so is correct, it was on the test, and sometimes they'll tell you things that you didn't expect were on the test. We're going to go over a few such questions right now. And ask yourself as a director this simple question. Ask your teachers to answer these questions. And if your teachers cannot answer these questions, I guarantee your students cannot answer these questions. Which raises the question, what are they paying you for? Okay, there's a lot of questions on draping. I recently had a young man from Iran. He failed his test. He called me. We did private tutoring. We do private tutoring. We also do tutoring for teachers to help you convey the message to your students. He said there were several questions on draping, and he pointed, we were on a Zoom call, he pointed to the drapes behind him and he said, "Why are they asking about this?" Now, I almost wanted to kind of chuckle because it's one of those sadly/funny things. I had to explain to him that they're not asking about the drapes on your window. They're asking about what you probably call a cape, plastic or cloth. My wife came from Iran. She had the same problem, took her test 3 times to pass. She knew how to do hair. she didn't understand a lot of times the words on the test, okay? And I had a flashback when he said that to many years ago, the same situation, okay? A lot of your students do not speak English as their primary language. Now, in some states, they allow it in Spanish, Vietnamese, Korean, Tagalog. In some states, don't. You're going to have students who have language barriers. And again, it kind of falls on the teacher and the school to address these issues, okay? Let's look at a few questions on what they call draping. Question number one, very simple question. What is the purpose of draping? Basically, so your clients don't get wet. Number two, when do you use a single drape? Number three, when do you use a double drape? When do you use one towel? When do you use two towels? How do you put them on? There was recently a question. A towel, a plastic cape, and another towel. Two towels, a plastic cape. They actually wanted to know the correct layering of these things. Again, one of those things that's very obvious when you're doing it, but not so obvious on a written test question when you're nervous. Another one, describe proper draping for a blow-dry service. And if you think you know the answer to this question, ask yourself why students are getting it wrong on the test. Those of you who are curious, look in your cosmetology book on page 333. It explains in painfully great detail the proper draping for a blow-dry service. That's going to about wrap it up for this little short video series. If you have any questions, give us a call at 760-534-4434. We have telephone operators in both English and Spanish. Look us up online, www.cosmetologystateboardexam.com. We have our material. I happen to have in my hand a cosmetology book in English, but we have it for all four topics: cosmetology, barbering, skincare, and nail technology. We have it available in both English and Spanish. So give us a call. If you're interested in having private tutoring with them, we have some very, very, very qualified instructors. We have 2 instructors on staff who have licenses in 5 or 6 different states. I've made a point over the years of having my employees take the test deliberately to fail. I don't care if you pass the test in a dozen different states. I want to know what's on the test in all those states. I want you to come back and tell me test questions, which is why I said earlier, ask your students to come back and tell you test questions. We know what's on the test in your state. Give us a call, 760-534-4434, and thank you for spending time with us today.